Hello, hello, hello. I hope you all are doing well today. My name is Unica Walcott. I am the host of Career Conversations. This is a live LinkedIn show that happens every Saturday, except some holidays because I like to try and human. But I'm so glad you guys could be here and be a part of today's episode. Today's guest is Laura Steed Lorino, and she is the Executive Director and Community Leader for L'Arche, North Carolina. So everybody, let's please give Laura a warm welcome. Hey.
Hello. It's great to see you. Great to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here. And want to also just shout out to Amanda. Thanks for introducing us, Amanda. She's been a wonderful asset in my network, and I'm so glad to know her as well. Laura, so before we jump into like, what did you want to be when you grew up? What's your title? I want to ask a little bit about the mission of L'Arche, North Carolina, and what you actually do, like what the organization does.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for that opportunity. Well, L'Arche, North Carolina is a nonprofit in North Carolina that is connected to a larger international federation. So L'Arche exists to create community for adults with and without intellectual and developmental disabilities. So we're actively trying to open and establish our first home right now in the Triangle area of North Carolina, where adults with IDD, intellectual and developmental disabilities, will live and just thrive alongside folks without IDD. It's a place where meals are shared, friendships are formed, and truly all gifts are celebrated.
Oh, that sounds like a fantastic place, and I'm excited that you guys are working on like a first like home in North Carolina. That's really exciting. And you said IDD, that's intellectual and developmental
disabilities.
Okay, I want to make sure that I clear that up for the audience so no one's going, when they say IDD, what do they mean? Just so people, if they didn't catch it. So you're now the Executive Director and Community Leader. What do people think you do when you tell them that's your job title?
Well, it depends on who I'm talking to. So because there are other L'Arche communities in existence in the U.S., there's L'Arche in Portland, in Jacksonville, Florida, Boston, Erie, Pennsylvania, Cleveland, Ohio. I can name all the locations. But because we don't yet have our community, our physical space, our first house, which we hope will be a springboard to another house opening and other opportunities for just folks to share in friendship and just have that real sense of belonging that everyone truly deserves. For those who think that we already have a house, they might think that, I'm running and operating that, but yet we're working on that actively every single day. So I am sharing the story, having a lot of coffee meetings with potential partners, visiting congregations of all different faith backgrounds to share and invite members and congregations to partner in this work with us. So I like to see L'Arche as kind of the center of something, and then just the ripple effect of the community and several communities within the community being connected. And so we're also trying to create community without having that physical space. So online events and programs, both social and educational, for friends, families, and beyond.
Okay, well, that sounds really cool. So there's online activities. So, I mean, can they find that, like, where is that on the website or?
Yeah, absolutely. So on our website, which is L'Arche, LARCHENC.org. And then you put a little / and events, and that'll take you directly to our events page. We've got a trivia night coming up. And again, this is an inclusive event. So folks from all different backgrounds and beliefs and abilities, all welcome to attend. And I'm terrible at trivia, and it's multiple choice. So everybody has an opportunity to win some of those prizes. So, but really the purpose of this is to gather together, especially, during the pandemic. folks who have intellectual and developmental disabilities before the pandemic might have been able to, go out in the community to different events and programs, but things are closed still in many places. And so this is just an opportunity for everyone to gather online, meet some new people, and just, again, have every gift celebrated.
Well, that sounds like a really fun time. I'm also really bad at trivia, so I'm glad that it's a multiple choice situation so that we can kind of just guess our way through
Oh, yeah,
and see who
absolutely.
wins. Like roll the dice. You got 1 in 4 chance you'll get it right.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
that
Super
that
fun
is,
too.
is a gift. So do you guys host like trivia nights on a regular basis, or what are some of the other activities you guys do to build community?
Oh, thanks for asking. So we have a monthly program and then the rest of them all change every single month. So the one
Oh,
reoccurring program that we have is called Y'all Belong Here, an inclusive sacred space. It's a 30-minute like prayer and reflection space where, again, everybody is welcome. Doesn't matter if you have a specific belief or tradition or none, and we gather with a certain theme. So this month was compassion. So we gathered, we practiced some, reflective thinking and activity on sharing compassion with those we love, with those who we disagree with, and even compassion towards ourselves, which may be for some of us the hardest way to share and show compassion, or the hardest person to share compassion with.
well, that makes perfect sense. I picked up a book a couple years back by Kristen Neff about that topic. Actually, it's a pretty good book. Um,
Absolutely. But other programs that we have, every other month we have Cooking with Community. It's kind of like a online cooking show where it's on Zoom, so you cook alongside with us, and I host that with my neighbor,
oh,
with
nice.
kitchen. And we've had online karaoke, book discussions, just fun. Usually, like those events are either social or educational, like I said. So just gathering folks together.
Oh,
And
yeah.
everybody's welcome. You don't have to be in North Carolina. We've had friends join from Hawaii, from Canada. We've
Oh,
had
wow.
some
So this has
who've
been like an
joined us from
international
London.
affair.
Yeah,
Well, that's pretty cool. So Brittany says sounds fun. So yeah, if you guys are interested in being a part of those activities, take a look at the website, larch.org. I'm gonna pop that up on the screen for you guys again real quick, just in case you didn't get it. You've got Zoom cooking, you've got trivia night. There are so many opportunities for you to connect with people. Apparently from around the globe, as they've got people from other countries, as well as people in as far as Hawaii from the U.S. joining the events. So that sounds like really exciting. So we talked a little bit about what L'Arche is all about, and really just building community and also a home for people with intellectual disabilities. Um, and excuse me, intellectual and developmental
hmm
disabilities is IDD, as you shared with me earlier. We've talked a little bit about what that looks like, the Zoom cooking and having your neighbor be a part of it. I thought that was really, really cool way to kind of bring the community even to yourself. We talked a little bit about self-compassion and compassion for others. What is something that you think is the best part of your job?
Oh, well, I think truly the best part of my job is twofold. One being with amazing people, the community itself, the community that we're building, and the community that was in existence before I even came on board. I started in January. Just amazing individuals make my day every day such a joy, and truly then that twofold side of it is this is a new career for me. So
Okay.
I'm coming in from working as a university chaplain. And so coming from a university chaplain world and just creating opportunities for students, staff, and faculty to explore and strengthen their own religious or spiritual backgrounds and beliefs to this nonprofit world, especially with a center focus on intellectual and developmental disabilities. Truly the best part of my job is learning more. I think unless you have a friend or a family member, or this has been a focus of your own, learning more about developmental disabilities, it's easy to not know what's going on and the challenges and the joys. And so it's been a crash course for me of learning a lot, which then in itself is sometimes a joy, many times a joy, and then sometimes really disheartening. And the disheartening part of that is there is just so much need in our society to create more welcoming and accessible spaces and places, and just more policies and funding towards just those who are needing extra support and compassion, to bring it back to compassion.
Oh, well, so we talked about the disheartening part. Are there some small things that people can do maybe in their own personal life as individuals that might offer a positive impact?
Yeah, I would say look for an organization in your community to get involved in volunteering or supporting another organization, or get involved with L'Arche, North Carolina, to just learn more. I think the IDD community is one of the most vulnerable communities, and I think if you have the opportunity to just be with others, to expand your own friend circle to include individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, you might be doing that to go out and help people, but you yourself are going to be transformed. Absolutely. And that's one of the greatest things about L'Arche is it's not this one way, assistance, just giving and supporting core members, which are those with IDD, but it is everyone learning from one another, a two-way street, and each person having that opportunity to be transformed. And then I would also say just spending some time listening and learning. There's a really great podcast called Hidden Voices, with an emphasis on DD and hidden voices. It's from Georgia. And a partner in that is L'Arche Atlanta. Learning about what's going on with different challenges like transportation, challenges of finding meaningful and purposeful employment, of that transition from high school to after high school, because there's a lot of support and not enough support still within the educational system. But as soon as individuals are outside of that school system, the support just, it's like a downhill on a roller coaster.
On a roller coaster. Yeah, I would imagine, like, when it comes to IDD, like, these are not things that are going to be super apparent or obvious to people. It's not the same as maybe someone that has a physical disability where they might use a wheelchair or a prosthetic. Like, those are not outwardly visible things. And so you just kind of make a lot of assumptions. We all do. What can you share with me one of your aha moments since you've joined L'Arche and learning more about this community?
One of my come back to aha moments is just the spending time with individuals within L'Arche. I have slowed down, and some of that is necessary to slow down for those that we're in community with, being at a different pace than just gotta go, gotta get it done, gotta move to the next task, just this super fast paced. And the joy and the just care of slowing down has opened my eyes to see so much more in this world. And so just because it's slow doesn't mean it's bad. It's actually a good thing to slow down, to be more present, to not multitask, but to truly be with those who you're currently with, and to just enjoy each and every moment.
You make an excellent point. That's something I've been working on in my own personal life, is just slowing down. One of my life coaches, Goddess Anika, she shared a book with me a while back called The Stop Principle. And it's really about, like you said, taking that moment to pause and truly be present and aware and conscious of the moment. Like, you won't get it back.
No. Yeah, that's such a good point. There's a really good book. It's on just kind of like that intersection of spirituality and disability. It's called Becoming Friends of Time. And in that, the author, John Swinton, talks about this other book called Arthur's Calling, where this mother is describing how her son with intellectual and developmental disabilities teaches others the fruits of the spirit, which are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, self-control, and faithfulness. Might have forgotten one. But she says that her son with IDD embodies those, the fruits of the spirit every day, but then invites others to experience and really work through, what does it mean to be peaceful and patient and kind? And one must be peaceful, patient, kind, and gentle to be in community with her son, Arthur. And so he's always teaching others what that really means to embody that. And so just, again, those aha moments of it's not a one-way street of education or of assisting, but it's really a two-way street. We're constantly learning from one another, and there's so much to be learned and gained from individuals with IDD.
Yeah, she said there's got a LinkedIn user. I don't know if they gave StreamYard permission, so I don't get names, but they said there is so much joy in serving others, and there most fundamental needs. Oh, it's Yvonne. Hey, Yvonne, thanks for watching. She said,
Yes.
"Ooh, that book sounds amazing. Please drop a link info in the chat." We just mentioned like 3 books in like 2 seconds, so we gotta kind of get it together on that one. What was the one you mentioned, Laura?
I'll put it here. I think I can send it in the chat.
Yeah, drop it in the chat for sure. Like, I want people to get access to the information that that we're sharing here. That's like the whole point of these conversations, for people to have access to different people, different resources and information.
I'll say that both of these books have a more Christian slant to them. So if that shoe fits, wear it. And if not, I'll come up with some more resources and we'll send those to you as well.
Okay, cool. And it looks like what happened with your chat this is what I'm learning every day myself. You ended up sending me a private message. It didn't go to the group.
Aha.
So you've got to select all, looks like.
Well, bummer. I can see comments, but I don't know if I can type then in the chat to the entire group.
Okay, so we've got John Swinton, Becoming Friends of Time. You know what? Let's just show it. How about that? So that's one of them. So, and what was the other one you gave me?
It's Arthur's Calling, and I'll have to think of the author of that real quick.
Or we can just Google it. This is the joy of being live.
Excellent.
I'm not scared to just get it kind of dirty and get it done how we got to get it done. So it looks like it's Author's Call, A Journey of Faith in the Face of Severe Learning Disability. It's Frances Young as the
That's
author.
it, yes. And her son then is Arthur.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we're going to share that really quick, and then people will have access to the information, because that is literally the point of the show. And so those are two great books. She said they're, very, very Christian-based sort of content. If that's not your bag, we'll come up with some other options. But those are some options of books you can check out that'll help you explore what it takes to be in community with people with IDD. And looks like, oh, look, see, we've got it all going. Look, here's a whole link. She found it already too.
Excellent.
Thanks, Yvonne. She says I'm a Christian, so that fits perfectly. So that's awesome. So again, those are some resources that will help you, to become more interested in opening in community, but also make sure you guys just do the simple stuff. Go to large.org, largenorthcarolina.org. Well, NC, excuse me. I'll just show it. I'm all over the place. My words are coming out and they're not really coming together. Okay, so that's how you reach Laura if you got more questions or need more information. And this is where you can go to the events page and find out about the upcoming trivia nights, find out about other upcoming opportunities. A lot of these things are virtual, so you are not limited to being in North Carolina to be a part of this community. So connect and enjoy, friends. And so now that we've gone all the way around the world, we've talked books, we talked, hey, get in community, learn about community, learn about self-compassion. What are some of the skills that you would say are must-have to fulfill your role as a community leader and executive director?
Oh, I would say, first and foremost, just I've, since coming into this role, I said I did a bit of a career change. So I've been attending a fundamentals of nonprofit leadership training, and that's through our local North Carolina Council of Nonprofits. And just going through simple fundamentals of nonprofit leadership has been really helpful. Learning more about budgets and writing grants. And I had that budget background from my previous job, but just even more so with nonprofit work and board governance I think those would be, my 3 major must-haves. And if you don't know it, that's okay. There are hundreds of thousands of opportunities to learn. Another organization that I've been learning from is the Allstate Kellogg Institute from Northwestern. So if you're interested in, nonprofit work, they offer a free cohort experience. I'm in like week 5 right now, I think, of week 8. So I don't know when the next cohort begins, but they give you videos to watch and learn from, and then an assignment. And if you complete, I think 7 out of the 8 assignments, you get a little certificate. It's free. It's not the full, I know Duke University also offers a major certificate program of nonprofit leadership. So this is just like a precursor to a major, 1 or 2 year certificate program. But both of those have been extremely helpful.
Well, that's good. I think it's also important not to knock the resources when you're getting started and trying to just get your feet under you. Getting that information quickly in like bite-sized doses you can apply, I think is super critical to being effective quickly in any role.
Yes,
so kudos to you for taking advantage of the resources and sharing those with other people. Thank you.
Yeah. And I would say, if you're thinking about doing a career change, like don't be afraid, like allow your passions to guide you into that career change, and then fill in your gaps. Just in the same way that I said, I'm learning these things, not having all the tools in my toolbox, but adding them along the way, and giving yourself grace to do that is just so important in the process. But if you have a passion about something, that's going to be your driving force, and then the rest of it can all be learned and added later.
Yeah, and I think that's the beautiful thing about it. Like, we're blessed with this ability to learn. We have access to resources. We have access to people like you who share resources and information. Like, that's really, the whole idea behind the creation of Career Conversations. So I was like, let's build access to information for people, whether you're career changing or fresh out of college or fresh out of high school or, mucking through the PhD program. Like, let's have all these people come together, and I love that all my guests have been so generous with their time. I've had a few people circle back with me and say, hey, I reached out to Ivory after last week's show and we talked and she told me this, and this. I'm like, that's good. I'm excited to be able to share people who are willing to be resources to my community at large, so that we can all learn and grow and be better together. Like, so this is exciting. Thank you for sharing, about the Allstate Kellogg program at Northwestern and about the program at Duke University. Also, you mentioned earlier the Hidden Voices podcast, because I realized some people are not, super fond of reading books. I mean, or just don't have the attention span. I have like 4 or 5 books going right now. Like, I'm notorious for like, let me start this and then finish that and a little this, a little that.
Yeah, huge fan of audiobooks. I mean, it allows me, if I'm driving, I said I have a lot of coffee meetings with potential partners. So listening and learning as I'm driving, just a wonderful way that technology assists us to get more done in different ways.
Yeah. And so I wanted to make sure that was up, the Allstate Foundation Nonprofit Management Essentials Online course. So there's a lot of resources. You said you do coffee meetings and kind of just take the drive. Do you have like a long commute, just out of curiosity?
No, I don't have a long commute, but the Triangle area, so it's Durham, Chapel Hill, and Raleigh, and then some other little towns, and like the town of Cary, not little, but and so if I'm based out of Durham, I might have a meeting in Chapel Hill that might be 22 minutes away. So I've got 22 minutes to learn something. Or in Raleigh, if it's on the north end of Raleigh, might be almost 30 minutes, and so it's, what can I learn during that time, and just open to opportunities.
Oh, that's really cool that you've made the max out of your drive time. Something I like to try and do when I did, have to commute or drive. So you're now an executive director. You transitioned out of being a chaplain. What made you decide to make the switch? Like, what was the catalyst for you?
Oh, this is one of my favorite L'Arche stories, actually.
So
I actually heard about L'Arche when I was in undergrad. So one of I had a chaplain in undergrad as well. And one of them gave me a book by Henry Nouwen called The Road to Daybreak. And that book is basically his journal tracking the days that in his first visit to a L'Arche community as a professor he was a professor at Harvard and Yale. And I think at the time when he left academia, he was at Harvard. Don't quote me on that. Either Harvard or Yale. Not the point.
One of those big fancy schools.
Not the point of the story. But I read this book of him transitioning from academic world to being in this community with adults with and without intellectual and developmental disabilities. And in college, I remember having a conversation with the chaplain who gave me that book and said, I think this is what I'm going to do after grad school. I mean, after undergraduate. After I graduate, I want to go live as an assistant at one of these communities. And she said, that's great, Laura. And we had a conversation about that. And simultaneously, I was also applying to grad schools. And I ended up getting accepted to grad school. So I've got my Master's of Divinity from Duke University, Duke Divinity School. And so at that time, I don't remember like the for sure like moment in my head that I said, okay, I'm not going to apply to be an assistant. I'm going to go to Duke Divinity School. But it just became like, okay, I got in. That's my next step. Okay. So fast forward 10 years later, after doing a year and a half of service in Kenya, living in California for 7 years, and doing a few other opportunities of learning between when I graduated grad school in 2011 to when I moved to Durham in 2021.
Oh, this is all very new.
Yeah. So 10 years, I had put, this idea of L'Arche kind of on the back burner. And I was at a place where I was ready to change careers and explore something new. And my wife could be in 2 different places for her job, either in California, where we were, or Durham, North Carolina, where we moved to. Okay. But this was before we moved. So we were thinking, what could I do in Durham if we wanted to move to Durham? So I reached out to friends from Divinity School that are still local in Durham. And one of those persons I reached out to, her name's Heather, and she's on the board of directors for L'Arche, North Carolina. So I just sent her a message and said, hey, we're thinking of relocating from California to Durham. I'm really interested in nonprofit work. I'm really interested in diversity, equity, and inclusion work. Do you know of anything? And she said, hey, have you ever thought about working for L'Arche? We're hiring an executive director. To which I just kind of like took what? Like how weird?
Like, how did these stars align and happen?
Absolutely. Yeah. So my long story version of this made really simple is at one point in my life, I said no to L'Arche to go to Duke Divinity School. And Heather, who was a peer of mine at Duke Divinity School, because of her, because of Duke, I was later able to say yes to L'Arche. So it was like this whole crazy round, like it's all coming back of like no, and then later yes. So follow your passions. Allow yourself to just fill in the gaps of what you don't know, because if you're passionate about it, it's going to work out for sure.
Look, I love the story and I have chills. Like, I'm like, wow. So you said no to L'Arche to go to Duke Divinity School, only to meet the person that was going to bring you to L'Arche. That is crazy.
It really is. I mean, it's I would say it's divine intervention.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
So here, out of curiosity, what made you go get your Master's of Divinity? And I asked this as someone who once considered pursuing an MDiv, actually. Like, I went to like Mercer University and like interviewed with the dean, and they offered me like 50% scholarship. And I was just like, this isn't it. Mm-hmm. So I'm just really curious.
So I originally went to the University of Indianapolis, is where I did my undergrad. And I decided to go to UIndy because they had an athletic training program that led to a doctorate of physical therapy. So that was like out of high school. I was pre-PT student. But the day that I visited my university and met with the admissions counselor, he said, I'm looking at your transcripts and your extracurriculars. You have a lot of experience, in your church. Did you know that we had a youth ministry pre-theology degree? Huh. And I said, no, but I'm here for athletic training. Okay. So this was me as
how do we get over there? I'm trying to like do this physical thing.
Yeah, this is me as a senior in high school saying like, don't tell me what I'm going to do. I know what I want to do.
Oh, look, we all were like that when we're like 18, 19. We know everything.
Oh, absolutely.
And then life sits you all the way down.
Yep.
And then hopefully by the time you're 25, you realize you're actually a moron.
I figured it out sooner than that because I was in my first year of my undergrad, and I remember a conversation of telling my parents I was changing my degree from pre PT, pre physical therapy, to pre theology and youth ministry. So, to answer your question, I then studied theology in undergrad and got really involved with my church. I was a very young youth director at the time, leading youth ministry at my church. And it was because of those meetings that I was leading in youth ministry where I thought, I need more education. Like, these students are asking really good questions. I need the answers.
Right.
So then I went to seminary to get the answers, which, if you like, if any subject you think that like you can read it in a book this big, and then it ends up being the subject's so big it could fill the largest library in the world, and you have more questions than answers, but it was just absolutely amazing. And so it was truly because I just wanted to learn more that I ended up going to grad school.
That's awesome. So, like you said, look, there's a need for me to be able to expand in my role. So that's like just like by nature, you're like if I'm going to serve, I got to do it at the full on proper level. Let me get educated. That's
Yeah,
good. I
absolutely.
love
Yeah.
it. So for people who are interested in maybe making career changes, like what advice would you give them, or what things did you not expect along the road
Yeah.
to the transition?
I had a mentor. So I was exploring at that time. I said, I'm thinking of, moving to Durham. I had a mentor that I had a couple conversations with, and I said, I could go down this route. I could work on my doctorate of education. I was at the University of the Pacific where they had a pretty good tuition remission program. So I was like, I could just get a doctorate for almost next to nothing. I could, really start to try to find diversity, equity, and inclusion work to do, or I could do nonprofit. And the thing that made the most sense to me, my mentor said, Laura, from watching what you do and and how you lead, I will tell you this: as long as you have the opportunity to tell people that they matter and that they belong, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You will be happy and you will be fulfilled. And so I just sat with that for a while of, how can I, in what career, in what capacity can I have the opportunity every single day to remind people or to tell them for the first time, if nobody else has told them, that you matter, you belong here, and you are worthy. And it was that conversation with my mentor that then said, it kind of gave me that blessing to really discern working for L'Arche.
That Look, I'm so happy, and I can see the smile and energy in your face when you talk about, look, you matter, you belong here. Like
Yeah.
that is truly like your calling, and that's so awesome. I
So I
guess
don't.
how did you manage? Do you have any doubts in this process, or how did you manage those?
Doubts every day. uh, yeah.
Doubts every day.
I don't know if I answered your question fully before, and that was just really, to have a support network around you of people you can have conversations with, and that's what I did. That led me to change my career. So I just wanted to make sure I answered that. But doubts, my yeah, I would say every day there's some kind of doubt. Yvonne's signing off. It was
Hey,
wonderful to be in this space with you, Yvonne.
yeah, thanks for joining the show.
Yeah. Um, Doubts. I have doubts every day. I said, and I've changed careers and learning all the time, and starting each day of saying, what is mine to do today, and then ending each day saying, I got done what was mine to do today, and that might mean I didn't get it all done of what I thought in the morning, but giving yourself, and this is a lesson that I learned from another mentor, a mentor of mine, to say, every day is learning and every day is possibility, and can't get to it all. And I could, work 24 hours a day and still not get to it all and continue to learn. But to just say, there's a reason that, the board selected me, and I selected L'Arche, and to live into that and to try to push those doubts to the side.
Live into that. I like it. I like it a lot. Oh my gosh. So you have recognized like doubt's just a part of the process. It doesn't necessarily
Mhm.
go away. What you do is figure out what is yours for today and leave the rest wherever it may be.
Mhm.
That's awesome. And it sounds like you have several mentors. Something I try and emphasize to people all the time, like, you can have more than one mentor. And I think it was funny the first time I heard that because it blew my mind because people always thought like it's like a one-to-one, like you can only have one and it's like cheating if you got more. It's like, no, you really do need multiple like
Mhm.
perspectives and support. People's ability to see you and to guide you is gonna, vary just in some part based on their own lived experiences. Um, so I think it's
Absolutely.
great that you've got multiple mentors. How do you go about picking mentors as they kind of find you?
Well, one was a previous supervisor who I just every time that she said something, I just thought like, oh my goodness, like you have so much wisdom for me to glean and learn from you. And so just asked, for some meetings to sit down and to learn from her.
Oh,
So it was more so like seeing someone and saying like, you got something that I need to learn and I need to know. So how can I present more how can I create more opportunities for me to do that? Um, so that was one. And then the other one was I was in the United Methodist Church seeking ordination, and the United Methodist Church assigns mentors. And so the person who said, what is mine to do today? And then at the end of the day, saying that was mine to do today, he was assigned to me. So one by my work, and then one by just being part of an organization that has mentors.
oh, that's fantastic though. That you've got more than one. Brittany, it seemed to really resonate with her to live into that. She likes that too. Yeah, I think that's a really simple way to like think about how to approach life. Sometimes we get so lost in the thinking and the figuring out like are we living?
Mhm.
No,
Yeah.
but I'm so glad that you made time to be a part of today's conversation. We've talked about some of the things you do to make sure that you're kind of tip top in this career transition for you. We talked about a little bit of surprises and managing the doubt
Mhm.
and really just having a sense of like ownership of your calling and that there's flexibility in answering it. There's no hard fast rule like that. Now I've got this Master's of Divinity. I've got to be at a church or anything of that nature. So that's really good to hear and to see. Is there anything I haven't asked that you want to share?
Hmm. Let's see.
Like, what would you tell like 10-year-old Laura if you could talk to her today?
Oh, I would say remember to be kind. I think as I continue to learn in this role, um, I love Ted Lasso, the TV show on Apple TV, and there's an episode where he describes how somebody once wasn't curious enough to ask him, why is it that you are who you are? You are. Why is it, that you are who you are? And so he just says, be curious. And I would tell my 10-year-old self the same thing of, be curious and in your curiosity, be kind.
Wow. So be curious and be kind. I think that's excellent advice. Oh, one more thing I want to ask. I love
Mhm.
asking people this. What did you think you wanted to be when you grew up?
Ah, so I would say 10-year-old Laura through like maybe like 16-year-old Laura wanted to be a PE teacher and a coach, like a track coach or a basketball coach. And I
Okay.
would say the driving force behind that was I just wanted to wear gym clothes every day.
That was the reason. She's like, look, I just don't want to have to put on a suit.
I also loved PE. Like I was the kid in high school who signed up for PE every semester. Just it was fun to run around, play games.
Like,
So
did you like rope climb or what was like your favorite thing?
I forget what it was called. It was like this it was this combo of soccer and basketball. So the soccer ball actually looked like a large tennis ball. I forget what it was called. It
This
was
is
so much
beyond
fun though.
me.
I mean, any kind of competition, I love it. So it was, yeah. We had a really great PE teacher, Miss Kathy Miller.
That's awesome. So you wanted to be a PE teacher And it sounds like what you've done is just kind of taken all that passion, that energy, and poured it into to making sure that people know they belong.
Yeah.
That's so fantastic. So if people want to get in touch with you, have more questions or comments, is there a good way for them to reach you?
Absolutely. Email is a great way to reach me. I can, I think, yep, you've got that. And then my phone number, I'll put it in the private chat and you could post it up as well. You can call or text. Happy to continue the conversation. And we have a new intern that has started, and we were kind of joking that it's for her been a crash course of learning about intellectual and developmental disabilities. And I just think, you don't know what you don't know until you start to know it. And
Yes.
this has just opened up this world of, we should all know what's going on, locally and beyond within the world of IDD, so that we can be better neighbors and friends. I mean, one example is my house that I live in doesn't have a railing to come up the stairs. So one, it's not even accessible for those who need a ramp to get in, but for those who have balance issues, to not have a railing to come up into the house. Like, I had no idea that my house, I understood that it wasn't accessible because of the ramp, but to know that other people might not be able to come into it, that might have a disability with balance, just surrounding yourself with others where you can learn, and then just, apply that to your life, and then become a better advocate. And I think that's, what I'm working on, is just becoming more knowledgeable and being a better advocate for all.
Okay, so guys, if you want to be in touch with someone who is open to helping you understand the world of IDD, here's the email for Laura. It's laurasl@larchnorthcarolina.org. It's right here on your screen. Also, here is her phone number. So you can reach her that way as well. So now you've got no excuses. And if you were just curious about being a part of Larch, North Carolina, some of the upcoming events and things, then definitely make sure that you go visit the website. It's larchnc.org. Laura, again, I want to thank you so very much for being a part of Career Conversations. This is a show that takes place Saturdays at noon Eastern time, right here on LinkedIn Live. So also,
I put in,
I just spotted us like, hey, wait, there's more information on how to reach Laura. So give me a second.
Our Instagram page is, I think, really helpful of just learning more about what we're doing and about accessibility. So that's at Larch NC. And then that's our Facebook page, just Larch, North Carolina. So like us, follow us, and keep in touch. This has been amazing. Thank you so much for hosting this each week, and for this opportunity to share today. It's been a joy, and just really grateful. And I think what you're doing is just important work to help others get connected and to, again, learn from one another. So you're doing amazing things.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Gonna have you pause for a moment. I'm gonna close out, and I want to thank you, Brittany. Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you guys for your questions, your engagement today. All of the comments, I really, really appreciate it. So join us next week. We've got more exciting guests. Don't miss out. Noon Eastern Standard Time. It's on LinkedIn Live. You can catch all the replays on YouTube. If you were interested in keeping up with the show, pop on over to uniquewalcott.com. That's where all the information is for Career Conversations. If you've got questions, you've got guests you want to see, hit the contact us page. Let me know what's interesting to you so that I can really hone in on those things to make this a show that is for us. Also, I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Unique Walcott. Love y'all. Have a fantastic week. Mwah.